Dame Dash, Jay-Z, back in court again. Dame Dash has got another case against him again for a $300,000 lawsuit for another totally unrelated issue. And we'll be talking about the Wheels Up IPO. So, what's up, everybody? Kamari Ellis here, Finance Rebel. As always, every Wednesday, we will talk about money. Every Wednesday. So, got a couple topics on hand and ready to go. We're going to talk a little bit about Dame and Jay, as we've been doing before, just keeping up with what's going on with those guys. But also, there's a new IPO to hit the market called Wheels Up. And so we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But as always, it will always be time to, there'll always be time to answer listeners' questions. So go ahead and throw your comments in the chat. Let me know what's going on with you. I see a couple people are joining in. Trey Snatch is in the building. Brown 0315. How are you? LFA 419. Welcome. And Cash Hawk is in the building. I see some of my people are joining in on YouTube and Facebook as well. By the way, for everybody that is on IG, you're watching live on IG, you can always go to my bio link. You can always go to my bio link and click the link, the first link, the YouTube link, and you can watch the show live there. Because I will have some things that I'll be presenting on the screen that you won't be able to see if you're on IG. But if you don't want to move, I get it. Stay where you are and enjoy the show. All right, so Christopher Allen. What's up, Christopher? I ain't seen you around in a minute. Miss Eve's here. How are you? Welcome. Akira 34. How are you? Evening. Jose. What up, brother Jose? What's new? All right. So like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about Dame and Jay. Some of their new court shenanigans they got going on. Then we're going to talk about Wheels Up. It's a new IPO-ish with my fingers up, my air quotes up in the air. We'll be talking about that. And, again, we'll be answering questions. All right. I see we got a question in the building. All right. So go ahead and throw your questions in the chat. Or if you're on IG, on the little question mark button at the bottom. And we will get right at them. So let me get some water first before we get going too soon. Just give me 1 second. And let's do this. Give me 1 second. All right, so listen, y'all, we want to jump into this Jay and Dame. As y'all know, it's been an ongoing saga. And it's something else I forgot to mention, that Dame actually got found guilty in a lawsuit for allegedly, as all the young folks are saying, stealing a woman's movie. So let me pull it up real quick. Now, listen, y'all know I normally talk about stocks and taxes and stuff, but listen, I talk about business in general. So anything that's business related that's going to touch and affect our community, I will talk about that as well. So just real quick, I just want to touch on this real quick. Now, I like to pull up the court records, but I couldn't get to this one just yet. Dame Dash can't escape $300K judgment over Mafietta movie. Unfortunately, the rap mogul Dame Dash has not been able to escape the $300,000 judgment for allegedly stealing a woman's movie, Mafietta. All right. So it says here Dame Dash's infamous also has hit another hurdle as he loses another bout in court, leaving him with a $300K judgment. That's not light work. I don't care if you're a billionaire. $300K still is not light work. All right. It was ruled that he engaged in copyright infringement, despite a Rockefeller founder asking for an appeal. Oh, wait a minute. They just skipped. Right. They just skipped the articles. I hate when they do this? So give me a second. According to Judge from the U.S. Court of Appeals, Second Circuit, the Harlem native appeal was without merit and now has to pay writer E.W. Brooks for allegedly shopping and selling a movie about a female crime boss character created in her Mafia book series. Brooks' lawyer, Chris Brown, I'm sure it's not the same Chris Brown that we all know, all right, said in a written statement, Dame Dash can no longer run from a scandalous and malicious treatment of E.W. Brooks. At this point, 4 federal judges have told Mr. Dash he is dead wrong. It's time Mr. Dash pays Ms. Brooks the $300,000 he owes her and close the chapter. Brooks spoke out. Dame Dash claims to help African-American women while stealing from me and my family. He stole my dream and took my Mafia brand as his own without consent or any credit to me, its creator. All right, so Dame's in a little trouble on that one. Dame's in a little trouble on that one. And Dame's attorney clapped back, said, don't think that wouldn't happen. His lawyer, I can't pronounce the name. We respectfully disagree with the Second Circuit's summary order. In particular, we think this court should not be affirmed the speculative damage awarded to Ms. Brooks. And for that reason, we are evaluating our appellate remedies at this time. Basically means they might appeal this suit. So again, Dame's in a little bit of trouble. All right. So on from that one, right? So Dame's in a little bit of trouble with that suit that he has over that movie. But the real big thing is Dame is taking Jay-Z back to court. And it's interesting. It's like this ongoing saga is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But I find it all interesting, right? I'm a student of business, forever looking to learn, forever looking to progress, right? So, there is no definite stopping or learning point where you just stop learning, right? That didn't make sense. I'm on board with that. Basically, you should never stop learning, whether it's business, whether it's science, whatever your field is, you should never stop learning. So I'm always looking to learn about everything that I possibly can, especially about the things in business. All right. So hold on. Let me do this. Let me get the right screen ratios and aspects. So give me 1 second. Do me a favor while you are all waiting. Do me a favor. Like this video, especially on the YouTubes, because I am definitely fighting the algorithms over there. If the algorithms don't see enough likes, enough shares, they won't believe that you actually have anybody that cares about what you're saying. So do me a favor, just like, comment, and share. Share it out with somebody who's interested in learning deep about business, not just this surface level stuff. All right. Headline says, Dame Dash accuses Jay-Z of illicitly transferring streaming rights to debut album. Now, if y'all been rocking with me for a minute, y'all all know what the debut album is. If you are hip hop heads like me, you all know what the debut album is. And the debut album is Reasonable Doubt. All right, so Jay-Z's debut album that came out on Rockefeller, right, 1996. I want to say, I'm almost sure it's 1996. That's what they're fighting over yet again. That's what they're fighting over. So it's, again, I told y'all before, Dame is not going to go away. This is all in league with the whole quote unquote, air quotes, NFT thing. Like Dame said, he's not trying to sell an NFT, never created an NFT. I talked about that a couple episodes ago. He is looking to sell his one third in Rockefeller. And like I told y'all before, Rockefeller Inc., Rockefeller Corporation, still in existence since like 1996. Don't know what happened with the Def Jam deal. Right, because a lot of people saying, well, they sold out the Def Jam. Maybe. But listen, we all will never know exactly what happened because all the contracts are private. All of them are private. So again, we'll all never know what actually is going on. So keeping that in mind, right? Keeping that in mind, this is yet another lawsuit in this whole saga. So again, Dame is suing, basically saying that Jay-Z is streaming the rights to the debut album. Basically, he stole the debut album. He sold Reasonable Doubt, and he's streaming it on platforms like Spotify, Apple, Tidal, and it's crazy. It's crazy that they're still going through this. Now, my man Jack's on. Now, Jack's a pretty regular on here, right? But just real quick, Jack, just to interrupt. I covered a lot of this previously. So Jack is saying, no, they partnered with Def Jam, separated when Jay became president of Def Jam, according to Dame Dash. That's what they said. However, I believe there was a separate carve out for Reasonable Doubt. And there was a whole other, Rockefeller was created the whole Reasonable Doubt. And that was stated in the court records. So I've gone through this a couple of times, going through the court records. I don't have the court records for this one today. I didn't have time to get it. But I just wanted to talk about it real quick. Because again, I'm not looking at going over this with a dagger or taking stabs at either of these gentlemen. Both of them pillars in the hip-hop community. Both of them attributable to creating one of the greatest dynasties, no pun intended, if any of you are Rockefeller fans. But one of the greatest things hip-hop, black culture, black wealth culture has ever seen. So I find it super interesting. So I talk about it. And again, I think we all can learn from it as well. So right now there is a Rockefeller Records Inc. that was started from 1996. Dame Dash is the CEO. Jay-Z is a 1/3 partner or 1/3 shareholder. Dame is a 1/3 shareholder. Biggs or Kareem Biggs is a 1/3 shareholder as well. So they all still have a piece of the pie. And so now Dame alleges that Jay-Z took the streaming rights to Reasonable Doubt and licensed them out to other platforms and is moving money from Rockefeller to S. Carter. But let's jump into the article a little bit. Let me see if I can blow that up just a little bit so everybody can take a look at it. Let me know if y'all can see it. All right. So the legal feud at Rockefeller Records keeps escalating. The latest salvo has co-founder Dame Jazz accusing the label's other co-founder, Sean Jay-Z Carter, of wrongfully taking streaming rights to Reasonable Doubt for himself. All right, so y'all kind of got the gist of that. Reasonable Doubt, initially released in 1996, was Jay-Z's debut album. For the past month, Dame and Jay, we've gone over this before. See the previous videos I have on YouTube about it. I went pretty in depth on this. And I told y'all, Dame's not going away. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. But there's something to this, right? And that's why it gets messy. But again, one side said Dame was trying to create a NFT for Reasonable Doubt. Dame said he never did that, right? He never meant to NFT. But now Dame is now stating that Jay has licensed the music to Spotify, Spotify, Apple, all the major streaming platforms, and the money is being delivered to S. Carter, LLC. All right. Okay, so a summons was filed Tuesday night in New York Supreme Court. According to the brief legal papers, Carter has transferred streaming rights to Reasonable Doubt without authorization from Rockefeller to S. Carter Enterprises, LLC. Now, again, just to reiterate, right? Dame is a 1/3 shareholder in Rockefeller. Rockefeller supposedly, allegedly owns the rights to reasonable doubt. All right. So anything that happens with reasonable doubt, since it's owned by Rockefeller, is supposed to get the blessings of the CEO or at least the shareholders. All right. And so it becomes an issue. It becomes a legal issue. So Dame is claiming unjustified enrichment. Okay, again, Dame is claiming unjust enrichment, breach of fiduciary duty. Replevin, I always have to look at Replevin. I'll have to look that word up a little later. Somebody, matter of fact, somebody in the chat, do me a favor, Google Replevin. It's a very interesting word. Replevin and conversion. He's seeking at least $1 billion in damages. All right, Alex Spiro, an attorney for Carter, wasn't immediately available to comment. So again, if you look at this, right, if you look at these charges, many of these charges are the same charges that Rockefeller accused Dame of. All right, again, Rockefeller accused Dame of. And again, this whole thing is weird because Dame has also said, because he did a podcast interview with Sleepers for Suckers. Shout out to Sleepers for Suckers. Great interview. Probably one of the more milder interviews I've ever seen Dame on. But he said he's never met the attorney for Rockefeller Records, that the attorney for Rockefeller Records is actually Jay's attorney. So this thing is all kind of muddled, all kinds of crazy. And again, it's really, really sad. And that's why I said, I'm not taking any sides, right? I'm looking at it as a learning opportunity, right? Because I don't know if any of y'all saw the video I talked about. My mom told me never to laugh at anyone's calamity. Because when you do that, you're not really being humble in the moment and learning the lessons that can help save you from your own personal calamity down the road. But again, this is going downhill real fast, and it looks like they're trading tit for tat, like it's crazy. So again, it's sad to see, but this is America. This is business, and things like this happen a lot. All right, so I wanted. Did anybody find Replevin for me? Did anybody find? Okay, Ernest Young. All right, Ernest Young. How are you, Ernest? I don't know if we've ever met before. You've been on before, but thank you. Replevin, also known as claim and delivery, is an action to recover personal property that was wrongfully taken or detained. All right, y'all got that? Oh man, Jose came. Oh, y'all all coming through. All right, thank you. Replevin, a procedure where seized goods may be provisionally restored to their owner, pending the outcomes. All right, so that's even better definition, because that's saying that he wants the money or he wants the rights back until they separate everything out. Not him, Rockefeller. All right, so let's be clear. Dame owns a third of Rockefeller. Jay owns a third of Rockefeller. Kareem owns a third of Rockefeller. Rockefeller has been transferred. Excuse me, not Rockefeller. Reasonable doubt has been transferred to S. Carter Enterprises LLC, which I'm sure is majority owned by Jay or maybe J and B. And that's how they rocking it. But y'all tell me, what do y'all think about this whole Jay-Z Dame Dash situation? Throw it in the chat. Do you think Jay is right? Do you think Dame is right? I'm in the middle. Again, I think it's a sad situation, but it is, again, a learnable situation for all of us, especially all of us who are entrepreneurs or soon to be preneurs that are looking to, run the bag up legally, legitly, ethically. Again, legally, legitly, ethically, right? So, it's something to pay attention to. Now, the other thing, right? A lot of these contracts did not address digital rights many, many years ago. So that could be an issue. That comes up also. So, yeah. All right, so Ms. Edith says it's messy. Absolutely. It's definitely messy. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me what y'all think. All right. So moving right along to our next topic. All right. So listen, new IPOs up, wheels up. Everybody's talking about it. And listen, for the record, I'm giving the disclaimer. Nothing that I talk about here is investment advice. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm not telling you to sell anything. This show is for entertainment and educational purposes only, right? No legal advice, no investment advice, none of that. But I'm looking at this new company. I have a group chat, a bunch of my buddies I grew up with, and we talk stocks all the time. It's only a couple of us that do this. But somebody sent this out, and I find it really interesting. So they're talking about Wheels Up. So it's this new, well, they're not new. They've been around for a while. But it's a company that's going to be leasing jets to people. They're in partnership with Delta, and we'll get into some more of the details shortly. But they're in partnership with Delta, and what they're looking to do is kind of be like the Uber of airline travel or the Airbnb of airline travel. So I find it quite interesting. Again, I'm also, right, real quick, y'all know I do not like IPOs. I don't. Typically. But everything's also subject to change. But I'm not looking to buy. Potentially looking to put it on my watch list. Potentially. Again, not a recommendation to buy or sell. Just looking at it. Just looking at it. And I'm sharing it with you all right? So please don't say, I decided to buy this because Kamari talked about this on the Finance Rebel show that I watch every Wednesday at 8 p.m.-ish, right? And he talks about money stuff. I'm not telling you to buy anything. Not telling you to buy anything. All right. So let's check out this clip real quick by the founder. He was interviewed today on CNBC. But again, I find it really, really interesting. Find it really, really interesting. So give me 1 second as we queue up the video. Here we go. Now, I'm always messing this up. So let me make sure I am sharing the audio. Because again, I do this sometimes and I forget to share audio, and I definitely forgot to share it this time. So I'm glad I took a step back. You know the saying, measure twice, cut once.
Hey, Philly. There's 60,000 plus job openings for auto techs nationwide.
If someone would like to do what I do, work for Mercedes-Benz, I'd advise them go to UTI. There's probably over 15 UTI grads that already work here.
You could get trained for your dream job in less than a year.
UTI definitely helped me land my dream job.
Let us show you how, Philly.
Common stock will trade under the symbol UP. Take a look at shares this morning. Joining us as Kenny Dichter, longtime friend of CNBC, Wheels Up founder and CEO. Kenny, what a journey for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. It's great to be down here with you and the team, and just an American dream. It's anything is possible in America. If you can dream it, you can do it.
Well, we were just talking before during the break about when you first brought this idea to us. So you were talking, you've been in this space for so long.
Yep.
Did COVID give it sort of a huge afterburner rocket boost, or has this been a slow burn all along the way?
I would say it's been a slow burn, you know, as I've been doing this for 20 years now, and I've been democratizing for 20 years. I think that COVID accelerated things, but we were surely on an uptrend all the way through. And, you know, to be here at the New York Stock Exchange ringing the bell on behalf of our investors, our partners, our pilots, our employees, just, again, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah. Give the viewers a sense of growth here. Let's see. Q1 revenue up, what, 68?
Yeah, first quarter revenue up 68. Even more impressive, maybe, new member growth up 56. So we had a great quarter, $261 million in revenue, which if you annualize that out, you know, it's a good run rate for us. And really, really exciting times.
Where does the growth come from? Talk to me about the kind of consumer you think you can target, and whether or not there's eventually a limit to that kind of person who's willing to pay up for this kind of convenience.
The great news is, and Ed Bastian mentioned it this morning when he did his.
He said, shout out to Kenny D.
Yeah, you know what? When we did that Delta Airlines deal, and I did that off market with Ed, he contributed his private jet assets, but more important, a 7-8 year marketing agreement. So first class, business customers, the Delta group of people, that just takes your addressable market really all the way up to the sky, and vice versa. You know, Wheels Up has a situation where our customers, 80% of our customers, fly commercial. So it's really about the addressable market and the democratization, which gives us that lift and allows us to be a much bigger business in the future.
Last year during COVID, there was a squeeze on equipment, right?
Yeah.
It was difficult to get a hold of a private jet for a while.
Yeah, well,
is that still the case?
Well, the good news is our pilot force and our team stayed in place all the way through COVID. We now have 170 planes in our first party business, which is O&O. We have a management business, a second party business. There's another 170 planes, over 1,000 pilots. So we have assets. We're not in the brokerage business, but the future of our business, Carl, be leveraging technology. We hired Greg Greeley as the chairman of our marketplace. He created Amazon Prime with Bezos. Vinayak Hegde is our quarterback, our digital quarterback. This is going to look more like Uber and Airbnb than an airline.
Interesting. All in the air, though. Are there other modes of transportation you want? The name is Wheels Up.
Yeah, well, Anchor's up. You know, you may have an opportunity in the yacht space. You know, Villa's up. And, you know, I watch Branson, I watch Musk, I watch Bezos. How about space up? We may need to go into space.
All right, so that was pretty interesting. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Let me stop that. But tell me what y'all think about this. Go ahead and throw that in the chat. But I'm interested. It's definitely piqued my interest. Y'all know, I am hardlined against IPOs. I do not like IPOs because typically IPOs rip off the mom and pop, the little investor, the average everyday person, because of just of how the overall functionality of an IPO works. Again, IPO, initial public offering, is when a private company that was not being traded on the stock market transitions to becoming a publicly traded company, open for public investment and traded on some kind of exchange listing like the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and a few others. But New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ are the two biggest. So, again, I find this very, very interesting. Could be potentially revolutionizing air travel. It is, however, it's not for your everyday flyer. It is definitely geared towards your first class travelers, your business class travelers, people who travel for work and for corporations and businesses. It's not for usually, right? Because I'm not counting anybody's pockets, but it's typically not for, somebody who's traveling for vacation. Typically, that's the typical mode of transportation, or for family or things like that. It's usually, again, for businesses. But I just wanted to pull up a piece of this here and just kind of run over some of the numbers. Like I said, revenue's up 68%. I mean, they did that during COVID. That's definitely impressive, right? They did that during COVID. The members are going up, so they're attracting folks to this offering, and a lot of people like it. So again, I'll be looking at it. So the shares came out today at about $11 bucks, $11.55 on Monday. We'll go back and we'll look and see what it actually closed at, right? The future Wheels Up, like Airbnb and Uber, Lyft. I don't know why nobody ever talks about Lyft. I like Lyft. But here again are some of the numbers. Up 50%, down 50%. Okay. We're looking for a great short term. And I just read this. All right. It received more than $650 million in gross proceeds from the merger. So one of the things about this this deal, this Wheels Up, is that they merge. They're doing a SPAC, and so usually when these SPACs, special purpose acquisition, forget what the C stands for, special purpose acquisition company. All right, a SPAC. They'll do these companies, and they'll be companies that already have money, and they're already basically established. And so what they'll do is they'll find an upstart they'll partner with, and usually the money's already there. And then the SPAC will basically help to push them online. All right, so they basically merged with Aspirational Consumer Lifestyle Corporation. Again, Aspirational Consumer Lifestyle Corporation. They're actually a company out of the Cayman Islands. And so it's interesting, these SPACs. They're interesting. Not a super big fan, but I get it. There's a lot of free money out there, a lot of low interest rate money. And people want to put money into some things. It helps kind of shortcut the process. All right. So they got $650 million. All right. Wheels Up owns 170 planes and manages another 170. We heard that in the clip. But they also have access to another 1,200. And so again, it's really interesting what they're doing. In the first quarter of 2021, Wheels Up reported 68% jump in revenue to $261 million, almost $262 million. All right. So this company started in 2013. So they've been working at this for a minute. And then when you heard them talk about some of the people that they brought over, like they brought over the guy from Amazon Prime, that means there's a great emphasis on having a strong management team. Because if you came out of the Amazon system, right, you know that you are good quality, right? Hey, John, Neff J, Gene 215, Roderick J, Below the Radar, the Tessie 1217, I believe it is. But welcome. But again, strong emphasis on management. So that means that they're investing in good people. That means they're going to be competitors, in my opinion. The real crux of how good or how bad any company really does will always depend upon the quality of their management. So again, he's been in the business for a while, got somebody from Amazon Prime or Amazon to get into the mix as well. So that means they're serious. They're taking it serious. And they partnered with Delta Airlines. So that's another good thing. So Delta is like the biggest shareholder in all of this. So again, it's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. All right. So listen, not going to stay on too long, folks, but I do want to make sure we get to everybody's questions. All right. Because I saw a couple questions in the chat. Just give me a minute to get to them. I'm glad we got to talk about Replevin. I believe that's the proper way of saying it. Key 1973, welcome. All right, so Miss Edith going back to the Jay-Z Dame Dash issue says it's messy. Jose says, I think it's sad that their business dealings has come to this and they can't find a better way to resolve these concerns. Listen, I tell people all the time, partnership business is like marriage. And we see marriages fall apart all the time. And then whichever party, husband, wife, man, woman, whatever it may be, right? When they get pissed off, sometimes all the gloves go off, right? There's no limits. There's no rules. Everything's on the table. For some folks, I'm a product of a divorced mother and father. And some of the stuff you see, oh boy, they just don't care. You would think they never loved each other. And that oftentimes is what we see in many of these business fallouts. All right. So as Edith says, the operational agreement, individual attorneys, and Replevin is my takeaway. I love it. I'm here for it all. Okay. All right. Ty Black says, just hit the like button. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, everybody, please hit the like button. Ms. Edith asks, are there any discussions on the drama on IG this week? Nope. What I will say is I am glad to see two black men have a conversation and clear the air and make a way to go forward. That's all I got to say on it. If y'all haven't seen it, then you ain't heard that from me. All right. All right. Thank you, Ms. Edith. So Ms. Edith said this show is better than any television show. All right. That means a lot. Because, you know, these big shows have big time budgets. And I'm just a one-man army. All right. Alicia Bone says 100%. All righty. All right. Ms. Edith says it is interesting. All of the social media gurus, millionaires don't fly first class. Everyone is on a jet. That's not true. That's not true. Missy Elliott, just Missy Elliott. So for any of y'all who don't know who Missy Elliott is, I want to say she's a hip hop artist, rapper, singer. I want to say she has a couple Grammys. I can't confirm that off the top of my head though, but she's made a lot of money. She does not fly private. She flies commercial. She talked about that not too long ago with an interview with Angie Martinez. And she says she wants to keep her money. I'm trying to think. There was a CEO just talking about this, who talked about this, how expensive it is to fly private. It can get expensive. So not all of them. Not all of them. Yep, you found a problem. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And so, Akira, we're going to go back to your question in a second, but let me address your comment. They don't fly on jets. They have a friend that works there and let them run on the plane to floss. These social media folks fly, coach. Yeah, a lot of that is true. A lot of that is true. Yeah, it's interesting, but listen, I don't know about the social media folks flossing. I'm just your friendly neighborhood tax accountant. I help people fight the IRS and not do taxes. So I'm not that glamorous to get on jets, private planes. All right. So why are we not pushing for high-speed rail across the country in every city? I think that's a great question, Akira. And I think high-speed rail, you would think we would push for it more. However, and many other countries have this, right? But the cost of flying in the United States is somewhat subsidized by a lot of government subsidies, along with there's a great airline transportation system. In other countries, they don't have that. They don't have as many airports, but the United States does. So that's why you'll see us pushing, or the United States pushing, air more so than high-speed rail. And it's actually going to be very, very expensive to upgrade it. Even though countries like Germany actually has levitating trains. They have these electromagnetic trains that float almost like the Jetsons. I don't know if I'm dating myself by talking about the Jetsons, but it's like some real futuristic type stuff where these high-speed trains are levitating. And Japan also has high-speed trains as well. I believe they go over at least 100 miles an hour in Japan. All right. It's all the Bitcoin and trust fund, folks. All right, works for me. People are out here balling. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Would you invest $10 in Wheels Up? So none of this information is here for buy and sell investments. If you have questions about this, we can have a personalized conversation offline. TB says, should I dollar cost average or lump sum when the market drops? So I'm a big fan of dollar cost averaging, because you'll see the market drop and you'll think it's the bottom, and then the market may drop on you again. However, the market could also run up on you as well. However, again, I'm a big fan of it because, again, it gets to smooth it out, because you don't know. Nobody can really time the market. The best thing you can do is just get in when you think something's good. All right, yes, hopefully resolved. Glad they could speak as mature men. Yes, I agree. All right, we're experiencing Jetson type life now. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. That's right. This show, the Finance Rebel Show, all of them are for education and entertainment purposes only. No, it's okay. I'm used to it. I've been around the block. This ain't my first time at the rodeo. And listen, I get it, right? I try to make these interactive and talk with folks. I actually want to have more of y'all come on as well. I think I'm going to start giving folks the option to want to come on during some of these sessions and just kind of chop it up. But I get it. I get it. All right, so Akira34 says she's got a question, right? HELOC versus home equity line. HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. HELOC, HELOC. For everybody that's listening on the replay on the podcast and that are also on Instagram, versus home equity refinance. All right, so need to do some repairs on the primary home and maybe purchase another one. Okay, so what's the question, Akira? Is the question which one's better? Which one do you need? It will depend, right? It will definitely depend. So I would say this, right? So I'm still suffering from trauma of 07, 08, where we had the major real estate crash. We saw deals that were funded, people go to closing, and then the banks changed their mind and they pulled their money. People were at closing and they said, nah, player, you're not getting none of our money for your mortgage. You got to figure something else out. So part of me would say, go ahead for the whole home equity refinance, especially if you have higher rates, especially if you have higher interest rates. I know a lot of people are partial to the home line of credit because, again, it's a line of credit, so you're only paying interest on what you use. But again, they pull those first. Matter of fact, we just saw Wells Fargo pull a whole bunch of loans. Matter of fact, let me pull that up. I'm glad you said that. It pulled a whole bunch of loans. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I can find that. So they end the personal lines of credit. So Wells Fargo just pulled a whole bunch of personal line of credits. Now they're saying it's because of some of the restrictions that, and they do have them, that the FDIC and the Federal Reserve have imposed upon them because of that big scandal they had where they basically were opening up fake accounts under client names, and it created a whole bunch of problems. All right. But this issue is also going to create issues with people's credit potentially. And it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Sadly. All right. So Akira says, thanks for answering that. Regarding the rails, the U.S. has more laid rails than the other country. My current rate is 3.75. Oh, you got a great rate. I need to update the plumbing, refit the sidings and windows. Yes. So let me go back. So yes, they do have a lot of rail, but we don't have the same infrastructure let me back up. The United States versus other countries typically has a better airline infrastructure than other countries do. Usually. And I also do wonder how old the rail is here. I do wonder how old the rail is here. When you see the housing bubble, well, when do you see the housing bubble to burst? HELOC, if the market may crash next year. No, I would say, and I'm not a mortgage guy. I don't get paid for mortgages. So this is just my opinion. But if you think the market's going to crash, right, I would be, again, looking at locking in the refi and just create a whole new loan, potentially pull out the equity, get the repairs you need in your home, get them done, and then just go from there. Because again, the HELOC, potentially, if we have a crash, could fall, or could be recalled. Again, if we have a crash, the HELOC could be recalled. Because again, what happens is, listen, people don't realize this, right? Banks are conservative by nature, right? We're seeing a whole lot of people flush with cash right now because interest rates are so low. But banks usually are very, very conservative. They're not always looking to just give out money. They're only looking to do loans where they're basically guaranteed to get their money back. And in times of uncertainty, people tend to pull out more money for certain things. You'll see asset prices drop. You'll see, again, real estate prices drop. Some homes may go underwater. Again, this is all speculation right now, right? We're talking hypothetically. But then the banks, again, they do not want to put a whole lot of money on the streets. They want to make sure that they have all their lending requirements, all their reserve requirements intact, so they can always fulfill all the needs of their depositors, right? Because that's how bankings work on a fractional system. So they always have to be playing, the guard, the good steward of the funds, and make sure that there's no issues. All right. Thanks for that. I was not aware that if it crashed, they would recall a HELOC early. Potentially. No, they're not going to indicate that, right? But see, here's the thing, right? People have short memories, right? And there's an old school guy back in the early 2000s. He said, Kamari, you're still young. You haven't been through enough market cycles. What's a market cycle? Basically, when the market goes up and the market goes down. I didn't understand it at the time. I do now. So I've been through the whole 2000 or the dot-com crash. And then, it fell. Then we had 9/11, right? Then we had a bounce from that. But then we had 07, 06, right? Or 09, where the market actually bottomed out. And then since 09, we've been on a major run. It's not going to last forever. Again, I'm not trying to be Dr. Doom, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to tell anybody to go to the sidelines. However, what I am saying is that when you look at this, if you know the history of the markets, if you understand the data and how everything impacts and goes into play, yes, it goes in cycles. Absolutely. The market has cycles, right? So again, ups and downs. So at some point, something's going to happen. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know for how long, but you can prepare yourself if you understand these cycles. The better you understand these cycles, the better you can prepare yourself to deal with them and still thrive and do whatever you need to do to build wealth for you, yourself, and your family. Because the sun's still going to come up, whether we have a market crash or not. People still going to need water, food, and shelter, whether we have a market crash or not. The question is going to be, though, is will you have enough money to buy all those things when the crash does come? Everybody's situation is different. So again, any other questions before we jump off and end this live? Again, we talked about a couple of things today. Jay-Z, Rockefeller, Dame Dash, right? Back at it again, back in court. Wheels up. Very, very interesting. Again, this is not an investment recommendation. This is not investment advice. All right. And then we got a chance to answer a couple questions. So again, any other questions before we jump off? And while we're waiting, listen, folks, do me a favor. Help me get my message out to as many people as possible. I've been here for a long time. I think I've stood the test of time. I think people see my level of integrity. There's enough of you interact with me online and offline to kind of verify that. So share the show out, like the show, right? Like the comments, subscribe to the page, the YouTube channel. All right. And listen, if any of you want to join my text community, because again, we're seeing YouTube shut down pages, shut down YouTube channels for no reason at all, right? Do me a favor. Join the community so we can always stay in touch. 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. And I think I saw one more comment come up. All right, so Akira 34 says, how maximize housing tax credits, or can you expound on it? So housing tax credits usually, right, are reserved for builders, developers, and they have to be granted. A lot of your big developers, though, when they go into a market and they get housing tax credits, a lot of times it's for low income or some kind of mixed income, development that they're working on, and they'll tend to get tax credits. So for the money that they spend, they'll get a discount on the taxes they'll have to pay. Sometimes they get money back, right? But it all depends. And every municipality is different. Every municipality is different. All right. So listen, folks, again, join the text community so we can always stay in touch. 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. And listen, I have to do a better job. I try to send out when the shows are coming up, or when I might publish an article, or if I'm being a guest on someone else's show, or if I just see something interesting, I'll share it out with the community as well. But I've been busy. But again, I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining in. I'm always humbled by all the folks that are in here, and I will see you again next time. By the way, no show this Saturday. Got some things I'm doing to help out and support some of my folks. So I'll see you all next week, but I might drop in before then. So y'all have a great night. So long.